Back now at 8:19, more than 17 million Americans abuse or are dependent on alcohol. It can be especially difficult for young mothers who on the outside appear to be successfully juggling their kids, running a household and a career, but in some cases they secretly rely on alcohol to get through their days. Here is one woman's emotional journey.
Each day was a juggling act. Take care of Max, write newspaper stories, clean house, cook. At 5 p.m., I'd grab a bottle of wine and reward myself for pulling off another day, even though I didn't feel like I was doing anything well.
Brenda Williamson lived like this on and off for 8 years before admitting to herself that she was an alcoholic. But she is far from alone. Over 5 million women in the U.S. abuse or are dependent on alcohol.
Almost every morning I woke up with a hangover. I'd ease myself out of bed, tell myself I wasn't going to drink that day, go to the gym, sweat out the booze, and do whatever I had planned to do.
Brenda wrote journal entries during her recovery, which evolved into a blog and now make up a new book, Diary of an Alcoholic Housewife.
By 3 o'clock, the hangover was gone. I'd start cooking, watch the clock on the stove, and at 5 p.m., I'd grab my martini shaker. After polishing off a couple of stiff ones, I'd sit down to dinner with my family and share a bottle of wine with my husband. While I cleaned up, I opened another bottle of wine. I'd help Max with his homework, put him to bed, pass out on the couch, and wake up at 3 in the morning to infomercials on TV. My life was ticking by. It was depressing. I was about to make the leap from heavy drinker into alcoholic.
Her story is striking a nerve.
I love that she wrote about people that show that you don't have to hit rock bottom, that you don't have to lose everything in your life to be an alcoholic.
I never planned on being an alcoholic. It just all of a sudden one day it hit me that I was, and I knew for years that I had a problem. And I tried to control it on my own and I couldn't do it.
Brenda Williamson is now with us, and we're happy to report that she's been sober for more than 8 years. And also, again, her new book is called Diary of an Alcoholic Housewife. And Sarah Allen Benton is a licensed mental health counselor and the author of Understanding the High-Functioning Alcoholic, Breaking the Cycle, and Finding Hope. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
So, Brenda, I think like a lot of us when we're young, you drank, like a lot of us, when we're drinking maybe too much. But something changed for you that compounded this for you when you became a mother. What was it exactly? Can you put your finger on it?
I felt very isolated. I had a very rich social life before I became a mother. And as much as I loved being a mother and I loved being home with my baby, I felt very isolated. I was not having adult conversations very much anymore. I was at home. I was one of the first of my friends to have a child. So everybody else's life was going on as before, and everybody was going out and having a good time, and I was at home. And my husband was, working, going out with his friends, and I was at home.
And so it was a way to what? Self-medicate that loneliness? It was a way to sort of have your own little party? What was the
Both.
point there?
Yeah, self-medicate the loneliness and have a little party. And I was doing this juggling act between my son and working as a freelance writer, and it was the way that I rewarded myself.
You became pregnant a second time, and there was a purpose in addition to having a child behind becoming pregnant.
Sadly, once I decided to make the decision to get sober, I admitted to myself, even though I knew in the back of my head, I never really owned it, that one of the reasons I decided to get pregnant the second time around is I knew it would make me stop drinking.
So your son, the child you had, then really pretty much was a partner in your move now to this sobriety.
Yes.
So he was a gift in that way.
It was a gift.
Sarah, you understand this in all that you've written about, but also in your own experience. What is it about these high-functioning alcoholics that allows them, well, I suppose I'm answering my question, to continue for years?
I think that functioning is a curse at times because it allows people to continue on in their drinking beyond that of somebody who's having tangible losses, like loss of a job, loss of a family, loss of a house. And so there's a justification in, my life isn't falling apart. I deserve this drink. I don't really have a problem, because so many people associate alcoholism with this image of the homeless bum on the street.
Can I tell you something? I remember early on being a mother and feeling isolation, and I had so many friends who said the same thing, where they would call it there's even a little name for it, mother's little helper. I mean, so have you been able to reach other mothers, other women who've talked about this as a specifically, well, it's vulnerable being a mother
Definitely.
in those early years.
Yeah, I've had many conversations now that my book has come out. People in my community, mothers that have children who go to school with my children, who have approached me, and I've had some very intimate conversations with them as a result where they're worried about their drinking.
So Sarah, you say that if someone listening now feels that he or she is craving, has trouble controlling intake, think obsessively about drinking, when they drink, behavior is uncharacteristic of their sober self, they experience blackouts, or whether they repeat their patterns willingly or unwillingly, that they should be thinking about maybe going and seeing what should they do? Very briefly.
Well, it's really important to tell somebody to reach out for help, that we take pride in getting sober and being in recovery.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Brenda, for sharing your story.